Hi, second graders. Miss Shannon here to work on our comprehension skill of the week. This week, we will be working with compare and contrast again. This time, we will be using it with realistic fiction stories. So, thinking about what is similar and different in our story. When you compare events in a story, you look for ways that they are alike. When you contrast events, you tell how they are different. Okay, so we are going to be looking for things that are similar and different within our story today. This is going to be our graphic organizer for comparing and contrasting with realistic fiction. Notice that this graphic organizer does look different than the compare and contrast graphic organizer we used for nonfiction expository. This is a chart in our previous text, and our previous graphic organizer was a Venn diagram, two circles that overlapped. So this is a little different, but I will show you how we will use it. You will need your turn practice book, page 173 through 175. So go ahead and find that page now and press play when you're ready. Here is our story on page 173. I would like you to follow along in your book as I read aloud. We will read it through once, and then we will answer some comprehension questions. Giving thanks 2 times. It was a cool November day. The dim sun hung like a nickel in the sky. My friend Riku and I were walking home from school. I hugged my arms when I felt a breeze as sharp as a knife. That day at school, we had studied Thanksgiving. We learned that the early settlers celebrated their first harvest at this very time of year. They had a big feast to give thanks for all they had. My dad bought a turkey as big as a pillow. Are you having a big turkey for Thanksgiving? I asked Riku. He grinned wide as he answered, Yes, we're having a turkey, and we're having rice too. Riku explained that his family was celebrating Labor Day Thanksgiving. It was a holiday in Japan where his family had lived. He told me that this holiday was a harvest celebration, just like American Thanksgiving. Both holidays are in November too, I exclaimed. Riku told me that last year he missed American Thanksgiving. He had spent Labor Day Thanksgiving in Japan. He was visiting his grandparents. He saw parades. There were displays of fruits and vegetables, like colorful rainbows. That was to give thanks for good crops, exclaimed Riku. Did you notice things that were similar or different with the 2 holidays the boys were talking about? Yeah, they were comparing American Thanksgiving with Labor Day Thanksgiving. So we are going to have those 2 topics fill in the top of our chart. Now, this chart you are not filling out yet. You will just watch my example. You will use this chart later in the week. So here is our compare contrast chart. I have labeled the top Thanksgiving and Labor Day Thanksgiving. The first thing we are going to compare and contrast is when it is celebrated. Does anyone remember when is Thanksgiving and Labor Day Thanksgiving celebrated? Do you remember from the story? I can find text evidence that says both holidays are in November. So knowing that information from the text, I can enter it into my chart that both of them are celebrated in November. This shows a similarity, something that is the same for both holidays. Let's keep working on this chart. You're lucky, I said. You get to have 2 Thanksgivings. Riku said, Why don't you visit my family for Labor Day Thanksgiving? Then you can have 2 Thanksgivings also. Oh boy, that sounds like fun, second graders. Now that we've read the end of the story, we are going to talk about things that are similar and different between the two holidays. Now that we have shared that they are celebrated in the same month, we are now going to talk about things that are different. We can talk about where each holiday celebrated. Well, American Thanksgiving is celebrated in the United States. Does anyone remember where is Riku from and where did he visit his grandparents when they celebrated? Do you remember the country? That's right, it's Japan. So, something that is different between these two holidays is where it is celebrated. Let's continue on now and answer our comprehension questions. Number one, how are Thanksgiving and Labor Day Thanksgiving alike? Hmm. There is probably more than one answer to this, more than what we just wrote in our chart. So if you want to come up with your own answer, that is awesome and you can do that. If you would like to copy what I have done, that is okay too. So there are many ways that Thanksgiving and Labor Day Thanksgiving are similar. We already noted one of them, that they are celebrated in the same month. You also might notice that both holidays involve eating food and celebrating crops or good harvest. So that is also something that is similar between the two holidays. For my answer, I am going to use the information that we put in our chart and write it in a complete sentence. They are alike because they are both in November or both celebrated in November. So press pause and play again when you're ready to continue. Here we are, number 2. How are Thanksgiving and Labor Day Thanksgiving different? What makes them different, second graders? Can you go back into the text to find your answer? We can use our chart that we filled out earlier, or that I filled out earlier, where I noted where is each holiday celebrated. They are celebrated in different countries. So if I put that into a complete sentence, it reads, they are different because they are celebrated in different countries. That's something that makes them different. If you want to come up with more information or different details, you can, as long as you can find and support your answer in the text. Okay, number 3, it is your turn, second graders. Number 3 asks, how do the narrator and Riku celebrate their holidays in the same way? Is there something they do that is the same on that holiday? I will give you a hint and reread this page. Think about what you do on Thanksgiving and what people do when they celebrate Labor Day Thanksgiving. Riku told me that last year he missed American Thanksgiving. He had spent Labor Day Thanksgiving in Japan. He was visiting his grandparents. He saw parades. There were displays of fruits and vegetables, like colorful rainbows. That was to give thanks for good crops, explained Riku. So, how do they celebrate in the same way? If Riku mentioned that they have parades for Labor Day Thanksgiving, does the United States celebrate Thanksgiving with a parade? They celebrate by eating food and having colorful fruits and vegetables. Do you celebrate Thanksgiving with colorful fruits and vegetables too? Maybe. So, talk about how the narrator and Riku celebrate their holidays in the same way, which means similar. So, make sure you are writing in complete sentences, starting with a capital letter and a period at the end. After you have finished page 175, I want you to take a picture or a photo of your work and insert it in the green box on the last slide. And I will check your work when you turn it in. Thank you, second graders, for working hard today.